Hello everyone, welcome back to God of War 1 on the PlayStation 2. We're still in the treasures menu here, and we're on heroic possibilities. So we're going to see how Kratos was designed and created.
Some of the earlier characters that had been played around with, some of them again just didn't feel right for the time period. Some of them either felt overdressed or felt too fantasy. A lot of the concepts too got very detailed. There were lots of flowing things, and there was lots of hair, and there was lots of things that if we had to just model it, it probably would have been a little bit tougher to pull it off. There was one character I remember when I first saw it that had kind of almost kind of a tribal feel to it, a very kind of African feel to it, which I thought was pretty cool. Didn't say Greek, but at the same time when I looked at that, I thought, that would be a pretty cool character to work with.
We went through images of the lone wolf kind of characters where you might have a hero with a little baby or a dog on his back. So just to kind of give something different, about the character and something that you can kind of relate to.
One of the original concepts behind the hero for God of War was to come up with a guy who was, his whole face was encased in a mask. And we thought that going with a mask would be, being able to paint his face in broader strokes so that when you were playing the game, he still had a lot of personality and you could still sort of read that when you saw the mask. But when we actually got it in the game, it ended up feeling very soulless, and it didn't feel like the guy had a personality.
That was always one of the big elements that we were dealing with, and it was difficult because, we would often hear, "It's not Greek enough," and we're like, "What does that mean?" I'm using a actual. Sometimes because we'd take it right from a Greek, some Greek sources, and it's very Greek. But I think what we really started seeing was, okay, no, it's not Greek enough according to what the general public knows, and that's kind of what we had to go towards.
These are again. Very traditional. Some of these were very traditional kind of Greek images. And again, the more traditional it got, the more armor we put on him, the more he lost his individualism.
Every time we put something on, Dave felt like, he doesn't look brutal anymore. And we started realizing brutal also kind of related to the primal part of him, and so we did spend a lot of time going through that, but in the end we ended up still taking his clothes off, and that's what we went with. So
when I first saw this from Charlie, it was the first time that I really saw the brutal nature and the violent nature and the sort of the animalistic quality that would really become the foundation for Kratos. And I think starting to see these images was just like sort of confirmation that this idea could really work, and instead of giving him a traditional sword, going with these sort of chain blades was going to be much more dynamic and fluid and really fun to play with. The main goal for the character in the game was always to create someone that looked really brutal and really nasty and really violent. Instead of sort of going down the traditional route of a iconic Greek hero with the plume helmet and the skirt and the toga and the sandals, we wanted someone who really made the player feel like he was being able to unleash his dark side. So the idea was always, how can we make him look more brutal? How can we make him look more violent and impulsive and nasty? And that desire always superseded sort of historical accuracy. So while you look at this guy and he may not totally feel at home in ancient Greece from a costume standpoint, I think he achieves the greater purpose, which is to give players a character that they can play who really does let them just go nuts and unleash the nasty fantasies they have in their head.
Okay. It's interesting how some of those early designs, he was blue themed instead of red. It's cool. Visions of ancient Greece. Sea level concepts for God of War.
So the idea on the environments and trying to create a Greek world was trying to create a feeling that reminded you of Greece and that didn't feel too fantasy. So we were trying to walk that fine line between a fantasy game environment and a traditional Greek environment. And so part of it was again trying to get stuff that made it feel Greek, not Roman, but Greek.
Okay, when we first start concepting out environments, it wasn't really defined as levels, you know. We picked out the important locations such as Pandora and Athens and Hades, and all I knew is like the game should feel really big, which means there's no like cramped area. It's more like challenge against the god and like huge monsters. So the look of the environment should be like huge, you know.
So with each of the environments, what we tried to do was kind of move you through the world using color to kind of help move Dave's story along and kind of emphasize the emotional impact of what he was trying to, of the story he was trying to tell. But at the same time, if I've just come out of the ocean where I'm battling the Hydra, where we've got, in that case, you know, there's more kind of greens and blues and things like that. I don't want to go into that same scenario color-wise again. It's like if I did the whole game in black and white, you get probably bored with it after a while. So one of the interesting aspects, especially in the Pandora section, was a lot of times you'll see multiple iterations on statues as well. And one of the reasons was that one of David's idea was he wanted those statues to come to life, whether it was Atlas or Poseidon rising out of the water. The things that were in that environment, the objects, the architecture, those types of things reflect what was going on, again, with David's story. So in Pandora, as an example, that whole sequence is about an architect who, in David's mind, is basically gone mad. And so the idea was the structures, the traps, the visual look of that should begin to reflect kind of a madman in some instances.
I did that piece, even the level of the design wasn't solid yet. So, but my own interpretation, I was thinking it's like things are like there's no gravity, but at the same time things are like kind of shifting all the time, and there's infinite distance in the back. Things are flying, falling, exploring. The Mountain Olympus, that one particularly, it's not for the game art. It's more like, okay, we want to talk about Mountain Olympus, so where's the image? That kind of thing.
The goal of the world of God of War was really to create a place that felt like, you know, a giant theme park ride, you know, or a giant set on one of these great high adventure movies, and places that you'd really want to explore and spend time in and really feel like you were having this grand adventure. And I think these guys, you know, week after week continually were able to come up with set pieces and ideas that they just top themselves constantly and continually, and they've really given us this great world to play in, and I think they did an amazing job, and I'm so grateful as a player that I get to actually play in this space.
Those are still images, but the way the video quality and everything is, they look like they're moving, but they're not really moving. Monsters of Myth. See the monster concepts for God of War.
When it came to the characters and monsters and creatures that our hero is going to encounter, we're dealing with characters and creatures that everybody is familiar with. Medusas, Cyclops, centaurs, minotaurs. One of the things that we had to do with all the characters, and I think you'll see this as you look through the concept art, one of the things that was very important to me was that when somebody looked at any of our characters, that they knew what they were. So what we could do basically there, as long as the character was down on all fours and I had 3 heads, you probably would accept that character as a Cerberus. Whether it was a werewolf, whether it was a dinosaur, you know, again, you would still accept that in our world and what we were doing in terms of building the mythology we were building, you would accept that.
far as a game creature is concerned, mostly what was fascinating me was the deep sea creatures and how freaky they look. And I was trying to pull up on some of that, and did a number of different types of hydras.
I was told, okay, Ares would be maybe 90% elemental, 5 or 10% human. You know, and so that's kind of what I was going for on these beginning ones. He's just pure power, you know, almost like he's this unstoppable force. And then, you know, Dave liked it. It's just he wasn't sure how we would do it. Probably was a slow transition towards being more human. So it's still kind of a huge guy, but he's got all this armor on that allows him to do all these things.
So the idea was, again, to move a character into something that, again, would be a little bit more in the horror direction. And again, what it allowed us to do was get characters that were still reminiscent of what they were supposed to be in Greek mythology, but were uniquely ours. So once we started moving in that direction, again, it opened up a whole new kind of avenue of ways to explore those characters. What we really wanted to do was keep people immersed in the mythology, in the Greek mythology, but give them a different kind of experience when it came to the characters and the creatures.
Okay. The birth of a beast. Of the beast. Discover a secret from Kratos' past. Could this be his next adventure?
When men ask for the origin of Kratos, the true tale was never known. The truth is that Kratos, like all men, began life as a child. But childhood in ancient Sparta was a brutal existence. Children deemed fit and strong were trained to be warriors, the protectors of Sparta. The weaker children were caged, sent to the mountains to fend for themselves. They were not expected to survive. And while Kratos escaped the fate of the weaker children, his brother was not so lucky. The two, once inseparable, were now alone. Kratos would become legend, but the story of his brother has gone untold. A child left in the mountains, he had died years before. Coming of age in the underworld, he had but one desire: revenge against the brother who deserted him all those years ago.
Okay. God mode, the most difficult version of God of War, advanced players only. Select from a new game menu. So, yeah. Character Graveyard. Visit the character graveyard and see 3D models that did not make it into the game. This is pretty cool from what I remember. Welcome to the character graveyard. This is where all of God of War's rejected characters go to die. Press R2 on each character to learn more about them. Press the select button and choose return to treasures to leave the graveyard. David Jaffe, game director for God of War. I guess we'll start here. Centaur, original design. I originally wanted the Centaur to be a hellish, nightmare-ish style creature. In this first design, you can see he's wearing a tribal war mask. He also has all of his skin stripped off so you can just see tendons, meat, and veins. But as you can see, we just didn't have the texture resolution to pull this idea off. Instead of being creepy and nasty, it looks muddy and unfinished, so we ended up scrapping this idea. This is really cool to see stuff like this in a game. Most games don't do or show you this kind of stuff. Cyclops version 1, Frogman. This was our first pass at the Cyclops. We scrapped it because, as you can see, it sort of looked like a frog. It was a totally non-threatening design, and I'm glad we killed it. Looks okay. It's not that bad. Cyclops version 2, Red Eye. Let me get out of the way so you can see it while I'm reading it. Okay. Cyclops version 2, Red Eye. We were having a hard time getting the single eye of the Cyclops models to read. It was really hard for players to see that the model only had one eye. So this model was an attempt to bring the single eye concept to the attention of players. However, this attempt fell short. It just looked goofy. It kind of sucks that even our final Cyclops, the one in the game now, still doesn't really look like it has just one eye. Ah well, maybe next time. Cyclops version 3, human face. I really like this guy. It creeps me out because it looks like a human face stuck onto this beastly body. The thing is, it didn't really fit the vibe of the game. Instead, this Cyclops came across as sad and human. I actually felt sorry for it. Cyclops version 4, cartoon Cyclops. This guy felt too cartoony for the game. This version is more like a character you'd see in a T-rated platformer. It's a little thin. He's not chunky enough. Cyclops version 5, action figure. This version was pretty neat, but it was just too cartoony. It felt like a toy. The skulls on the chest made it feel like one of the accessories you get when you buy an action figure. Yeah. They kept getting taller and taller, except for the first one over here. All of these kept getting gradually larger. Jeez. Cyclops version 6, Patchwork Cyclops. Now this guy was nasty. I still think he was pretty cool. Looking at him now, I'm wondering why we didn't use him. I'm sure there was a good reason, but I just can't recall. Sure, the eye looks bad, but that could have been fixed. But the body texture is really cool. Better keep this guy in mind for future projects. He's great. He's pretty creepy. Needs a little better texture quality, but looks like a Frankenstein Cyclops. Kratos version 1, giant in a diaper. This was the placeholder of the hero. We needed something to put in the game while we were still locking the design of Kratos. The model was always meant to be a throwaway model, but even so, I have no clue why the artist chose to model a fat guy wearing a diaper. Boy, if Kratos only knew what he looked like way back when. That's funny. Kratos version 2, Medieval Warrior. This model looked too medieval for the ancient Greek setting. Still, I like this guy. I think he's kind of cool. There's something very heroic about him that works for me. Kratos version 3, Dreadlocks. Our first art director wanted this to be the hero. I could tell he was really into the design, so I tried to support it. But it just didn't sit well with me. This model is not brutal enough, not vicious enough to be the star of God of War. I'm glad we changed it, even though I think it pissed off the art director. It's pretty close. I mean, there's definitely... that could be Kratos' brother, you know? That looks like him. Kratos version 4, cool armor Kratos. This is my favorite design for Kratos. We could not use it, however, because there was too much detail in the armor. When we put this in the game, amid the detailed backgrounds, the hero did not look very good. Maybe if we make another Kratos game on more powerful hardware, we can use this cool outfit, and it will look better on newer technology. Kratos version 5, Blue Tattoo. This was almost the final Kratos design. I really wanted red tattoos with white skin, but we felt that color scheme was too cliche, so we decided on blue. It was blue for a while, but I just could not live with it. My gut said red tattoos were the way to go. Looking at it now, I'm glad we changed it, as I like the red tattoos much better. It would have been nice to have this as a alternative skin, though, just to have blue. That's pretty cool. Medusa version 1, quintuple feet. The main thing to notice is her feet. In the final game, she has no feet, just a tail. Animating 5 feet slithering all around just proved to be too much. Also note that this character has nipples. She was created at the start of the game, and all the female monsters had nipples. And the Cyclops even had a penis. I really wanted the monsters to come off like wild animals, like things you would see at the zoo, so I thought those implements helped. End of the day, we got to keep the nipples, but we lost the penis on the Cyclops. Poor Cyclops. Skeleton version 1, old school. Inspired by the action-adventure movies many of us grew up with. This was our first skeleton zombie undead soldier. End of the day, we felt this was just too plain of a design for today's audience. It was a hard call, as the simpler design really resonated with those who had grown up with the adventure flicks of the 1970s. But we wanted God of War's characters to be more original, so we scrapped the idea. I don't think there was any actual skeletons in the game we even fought. Somewhat, maybe. Skeleton version 2, helmet head, a really great design. I love the skeleton head and how the bone itself is shaped like a Roman and Greek helmet. In the end, cool as the design was, it did not look all that good when we got 5 to 8 of these guys on screen. So we went with something simpler. Yeah, it's pretty crazy looking. Okay, looks like that's it. Pretty cool though. Okay. 10 rooms, 10 challenges. Can you make it to the end? Okay. We won't do this. But 10 challenge maps, I guess, levels that you can play. In-game movies, watch all the in-game movies. Let's just try it, see what it does here. Okay, so it's going to start there. The secret revealed. Discover the secret of Kratos' family. Where will the discovery lead?
Kratos had accomplished more than he'd ever dreamed possible. But he did not sit easily on his new throne. There was a secret in his past even he did not know. A secret he burned to uncover. Born out of wedlock, Kratos was the bastard child of a shunned woman. There were rumors as to who the father was. Rumors that grew more and more preposterous. Until the woman finally left her small village. She swore a new life in Sparta. Kratos would never know the truth. Never know who his father really was. But now, as a man, Kratos returned to Sparta, determined to find his mother and discover the truth. Kratos' mother was not long for this world. Before she passed, Kratos demanded she tell him the truth. His mother knew the price she would pay if she revealed the name of Kratos' father. But it was time, at last, for her son to know who he was. No word need be spoken to bring about the prophecy of the curse. She was transformed into a merciless beast, one which would destroy even her own son. Putting aside the last remnants of affection for his mother, Kratos destroyed the beast she had become. With her last breath, she spoke the name of his father, for Kratos was no mere mortal. He was the son of a god, He was the son of Zeus, the father of Olympus. And with that knowledge came the certainty that one day soon he would take his revenge against the father, against the god who had abandoned him all those years ago.
Okay. Fate of the Titan. What has become of Kronos the Titan?
The tale of Pandora's box remains to this day. After the weapon was taken from the temple, the structure endured. Kronos the Titan lived another 1,000 years, wandering the desert. That was long ago. The temple has gone silent, and the beast who bore it for so long has died. Relics of a world long past. But all myths need not be from the ancient times. Today, a band of explorers will make their way inside the just-discovered structure and find for themselves the temple still holds many dangers and many secrets. Soon, as with all great myths, a new hero will emerge.
That's cool looking. I guess that was him. It's like the skeleton of him pulling the chains. We're still attached. Alright, additional costumes. New costumes for Kratos. Like the costume from the new game menu. Can't look at it from here, so we'll have to look at it from the new game menu. A secret message 1, God mode, final message, finale message. After you beat God mode, I guess. You have become the new God of War. Prepare for your reward. Call 1-800-KRATOS. It's probably a dead number at this point. Let me know if any of you called it in the comments or in the description of the video. Easter egg message. Okay. Oh, wow. No idea what that's referencing. Let me know in the description if you do. Okay, so we have basically just the costumes to see in the menu. And that's everything in the treasures. So, new game. So you can play God mode now. So when you pick your difficulty, you can pick between these different outfits. So you have just the normal Kratos. And you have a Chef of War, preferred skill, magic. So this is what you look like. And I guess you have maybe stronger magic abilities using this outfit. Bubbles, preferred skill, health. So a scuba outfit. I think he has shorts on. Tycoonius, preferred skill, experience. So you get more red orbs, probably. He's just in a suit, and he swings the suitcase around on the chains that replaces the blades. It's pretty cool, actually. Dairy Bastard, preferred skill, magic. Yep. You're seeing what you think you're seeing. Ares armor, preferred skill, armor. So it's like a kind of on fire armored version. Pretty cool. And just back to Kratos. So besides the default, you get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different costumes you can wear. And that about covers it. Right when my timer's going off, so this extra stuff for the treasures only took a couple of videos. So this will conclude God of War 1 and the PlayStation 2. We'll definitely be getting to the sequels in the future. These will be, really fun to play again. They're always fun to play again for me anyway. So thank you very much for watching this. I hope you enjoyed it. Please check out the community tab for my next series speculation picture to let you play a little guessing game of what's going to come next as far as the next series I play. So thank you very much, and I will see you in the next series. Bye.